Here's an update to the video that I recently did about performing maintenance on the oil bath bearings on the 73 Holiday Rambler. And so what I did before is I took the wheels off, took the hubs off, and took the outer bearings out, inspected that, basically cleaned everything up, painted the hubs, and put everything back together. I had new caps on the outside here to put on. And one of the comments I had from Jim was you should have replaced the bearings seal that's on the inside bearing. And so I looked into that, and that's what I'm going to do now. In fact, it looks like on this particular one, on this side, I do have a little bit of a leak. When I look around on the back side, I do have a little bit of a leak. So this one is leaking. So I've researched and found the right kind of seals. I wasn't even sure they could be purchased. So I'm ready to replace the inner seals, and I think once I get those replaced, everything will be good and tight, and should be in good shape. I did these back two before. I'm going to replace the inner seals on this, the front ones here, and then when I get those done, I'll go back and take these off again and replace the seals on these. Here's the seal that's going to be replaced. It's just this part here that's metal with a little rubber lip on the inside. It was a little difficult to get out. I took the other one on this other hub out already, and it was a little difficult to take out. I had to use a pretty good size pry bar to get it out, and of course it tore it up when I took it out, but doesn't really matter. So this is the one that I took out, which is all been up, but I've got new ones, and I'll put those in there. One of the situations I've run into on these two hubs is I'm having trouble getting this little set screw or set bolt out. That's where you put in the new oil after you get everything all back together. And I've put WD-40 on it, let it soak, and it's just not coming out very, not loosening up. Well, I was not able to get the oil plug out myself, and so I took these two hubs to a local machine shop, and they were able to get those out. Looks like what they did was just put a piece of weld on the outside of it, probably put a pair of vice grips on there and just twisted it off. So I'll need to get some new plugs, but thankfully they were able to get those out. I was concerned that I might mess that up trying to do it myself and didn't want to mess up this whole hub, so I was glad they were able to do that. I'll get some replacement plugs, and they'll take care of it. So since I've got the oil plugs out and I know that I'll be able to put oil back in these hubs, I'm ready to put these things back together. So I've cleaned out the race really well and all around it. I've sprayed it with brake cleaner and wiped it out multiple times just to make sure I don't get any grit in there. And so I've done that several times. I feel that it's good and clean in there. I've also cleaned and inspected the bearing. The bearing looks good. It still feels pretty relatively tight, and it's not loose with the bearings wobbling around or anything, and it looks good. So I've cleaned it too to make sure there's no grit in it. So I'm going to put that in there, and then here's my seal. What I've seen online on other YouTube videos is this just presses in here, so I'm going to take a flat block and place on here and tap with a hammer all the way around, probably a big rubber mallet, just to make sure this goes in nice and flush all the way down. So that's what I'm going to do next. Okay, I've got the seal pressed in there, and it went down nice and flat with that wooden block and a rubber mallet. So I'm ready to put it on the spindle. I'm going to go check the spindle, probably spray some brake cleaner on it and just make sure it's nice and clean, and everything looks good with no grit or anything on it. And then I'll slide this on and put the outer bearing on and get it all put back together. Well, when I got everything back together and got the hub on there, got everything tightened up, and added oil in the oil plug, the oil ran out the back. So what I finally determined was I did not have the right size seals. I was given a part number for a different brand, for a national brand, and I think I was just given the wrong information. So I called Dexter. I actually found the part number. I found a number on the original seals that I had taken out. It was kind of hard to read, but I got that and gave that to them. And also, and I got a correct Dexter seal part number. And so what I found was I measured. This is the part that the seal goes around, and so I measured that. It's 2 1/8. But the seals that I had, the inside of the seals that I had, were 2 1/4. So obviously oil's going to run out that. So here's the new seal, and you can see that it's going to go on there and fit snugly on there. So that, and it's got a little spring around there to keep it tight. So that is the right size seal, and I've actually got one already put in one of the hubs, and I'm just about ready to put it back on. So this is the correct seal that I've got pressed in here. The part number for this one is 010-010-00. They just call that a 10-10-0. And this is on a Dexter 8-155 hub, which is pretty old. When I called Dexter, they had to get out the old parts manual and everything, but they were able to find it. So I feel confident now that I got the right size seal, and hopefully when we get this back together, everything will be tight and nothing's going to leak on me. Alright, the good news is, after getting the correct seals on these wheels and these hubs, then I don't have any leaks. So very happy about that, and I want to thank Jim for suggesting I replace those seals. I think it's a great idea. Appreciate that, Jim. And so if you'd like to follow our progress, we've got a lot more to do on this Holiday Rambler. If you'd like to follow our progress, just subscribe, and if you have a comment, please leave a comment, and I'll be glad to hear from you.